did you know that tonight is opening night of Meet Me in St. Louis? Lon, will you do the calls for the square dance?
Sure, sis. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Put on your Sunday go-to meeting and I'll take you by the hand. If you will be my dancing partner, we will dance to beat the band. So join the promenade and lead the big parade. And if you don't get home at all, your mom will understand.
So choose your partner, skip to my loo. Choose your partner, skip to my loo. Choose your partner, skip to my loo. Skip to my loo, my darling. Flies in the buttermilk, shoo, shoo, shoo. Flies in the buttermilk, shoo, shoo, shoo. Flies in the buttermilk, shoo, shoo, shoo.
Skip to my loo, my darling.
I'll be glad to go with you, so really do not tarry. But if I do, it's up to you. It's the hair.
Skip to my loo. Skip to my loo. Skip to my loo. Skip to my loo, my darling. Skip to my loo. Skip to my loo. Corner girl. Grab your honey, pat her on the head. If she don't like biscuits, give her cornbread. 5 more bits with a great big cake. Promenade ain't so cute, let's take. Rope the cow, wearing the cow. Sweet your honey, what's it out?
Lost my partner, skip to my loo. Lost my partner. Lost my partner.
Skip to my loo, my darling.
Oh, I'll find another one prettier than you.
I'll find another one prettier than you. I'll find another one prettier than you. And go to another party.
Oh, I'll fly away to a neighboring state. I don't care what my friends say. We'll dance and sing till broad daylight.
Skip to my loo. Skip to my loo.
Friday.
Skip to my loo. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Skip, skip, skip to my loo. Skip to my
Well, good evening and welcome to William Peace University. And you just got a very, very brief glimpse of our incredible cast who will be performing in Meet Me in St. Louis, which is opening tonight. And so they very graciously agreed to come out and perform, even though their call was actually in about 45 minutes. So they will certainly be in full costume and ready to perform this evening. They open at 7:30 tonight, and we'll continue with our program on Saturday and Sunday as well. So I hope that you all, for those of you who can stay tonight to enjoy the show, but if not, that you'll come back this weekend to take in an incredible performance. I want to welcome you all to the State of the University. My name is Brian Ralph. I have the privilege and honor of serving as president here at the university. I do want to take a few moments just to acknowledge some of our special guests that we have this evening. And I'm going to impose and ask some of you to stand. But first and foremost, if members of our Board of Trustees could be stand this evening to be recognized. Thank you. I know we have a number of alumni here in the audience, so if we could have all of our alums of peace please stand so we can recognize you. Outstanding. And I believe we have members of our Student Government Association here this evening, so could our members of SGA stand up please to be recognized? It's always a special privilege to welcome someone on whose shoulders I am standing. So if we could give a warm welcome to our 8th president, Dr. Garrett Briggs, and his wife, Susan. Outstanding. And I do believe we have a couple elected officials with us here this evening. So I would love to identify Nicole Stewart. I believe Nicole is here somewhere. Thank you. One of our city council members. Outstanding. And also the chair of the Board of Education for Wake County, Mr. Dr. Jim Martin. And his wife, Linda. Linda, it was great to meet you earlier this evening. We also have 2 of our leaders here in Raleigh who are really working hard to continue to make this place an inclusive, great place to work, live, and play. So I first want to identify Adrian Cole, our CEO of the Chamber of Commerce here in Raleigh. And I'm not sure if I saw Bill King come in. I know he's going to try to make it here today. He's the CEO of the Downtown Raleigh Alliance and also a great leader here in the area. Lastly, I want to take a personal privilege and say hello to my beautiful bride, Kristen, and my middle daughter, Eden, who are here this evening. And lastly, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you who are watching online. We're streaming online on YouTube this evening, and it's great to have many of you watching. So we have just entered our 3rd year of the Believe in Peace strategic plan. And it's an inspiring but also very aspirational plan to move the institution forward in some powerful ways. And the plan is really comprised of 4 strategic themes. The first is called immersive learning. And immersive learning is really focused on the most dynamic and experiential learning environment possible. Not just for 1 or 2 of our classes throughout the 4 years, but it's designed to really permeate our entire curriculum, every class, every day. At the university, we believe that learning takes place everywhere, and we are working hard to facilitate those moments throughout the day, throughout the week, and throughout the year. And you're going to hear a lot more about immersive learning in just a few minutes. Our second strategic theme is called innovative partnerships. We're engaging with organizations from Raleigh and around the region to enhance the learning opportunities for our students, and as well as bring value and impact to those organizations through our incredibly talented students and faculty. And it also means that we're partnering with our alumni to get them engaged in the life of this institution and most importantly in the lives of our students. Our third strategic pillar is focused on strategic growth. We are seeking to become a stronger and more vibrant university, attracting more and more of the talented students we have here at Peace and helping them succeed at higher and higher levels. The growth will enable us to further invest in the student experience, our faculty and staff, and our beautiful campus. Our last strategic area is distinctive identity. This university has been known as many things to many people throughout its history, and we are boldly moving forward, building on the incredible heritage that we have here while simultaneously raising our profile as an institution and ultimately being well known for providing an immersive educational experience for our students, sending out talented and agile graduates, and being a place that is both fun and inspiring to work. We've been making exceptional progress against our strategic plan. In the first 2 years, we have executed 52 strategic initiatives, ranging all across the entire campus and curriculum. And many of those initiatives are already moving our metrics forward. As an example, our first-year student retention rate has increased 5 percentage points in the last 2 years. We've had increased alumni engagement of 36% just from last year to this year. And I'm very pleased to report that we've had a 123% increase in giving to the university since just last year, an incredible achievement in a very short period of time. Through the generosity of Clancy and Thays, we've constructed a Center for Immersive Learning on the second floor of the library, and now is partnered with our Center for Student Success. We've created a collaboratory, as noted here in the far part of the picture, along with another area for students to study and do group projects. You'll even notice if you see the student newspaper today, this is featured on the front page of the student newspaper. Needless to say, the students love the space. Athletics has also been an important part of our growth strategy moving forward. We've added 6 new athletic teams just in the last few years in men's and women's lacrosse, men's and women's swimming, and men's and women's track and field. The growth in athletics will also enhance enrollment and create even more vibrancy here on campus and off, not to mention increasing student and pacer pride. I should also mention that our student athletes are achieving both in and outside of the classroom with incredibly high GPAs and doing incredible service in our community. Overall, our athletic programs are achieving higher and higher levels of success. We've had more conference tournament appearances than any other time in our history, and program records are both being established and broken in almost every sport. And just as an example, our women's basketball team just last night beat a nationally ranked opponent 82-68. It was not even close. So, absolutely. Also supporting our strategic growth efforts, we are very fortunate to have constructed a new welcome center in main building because of the generosity of First Citizens Bank. This is a new area to welcome our admissions guests and visitors as they are searching for the perfect college fit. You'll see here in the photos everything from the entrance to our new waiting area, a state-of-the-art presentation area, and also one of my favorite areas, a newly exposed wall from Maine that was constructed as part of the 1857 original wall of the building that we now are able to show all of our guests as part of their visit experience. In January 2019, we launched an RN to BSN program, the only one of its kind in the region. This program is designed to meet the needs of nursing professionals throughout the region who are registered licensed nurses, but who do not yet have a bachelor's degree. There is a national push from many organizations to have 80% of all nurses equipped with a bachelor's degree by 2025. That percentage is only slightly over 50% today. We have already established partnerships with Wake Med, UNC Rex, Duke Raleigh, and just this week, an agreement with UNC Physicians Network, as well as other organizations that are under discussion. These partnerships are facilitating opportunities for their employees to come and finish their degree in order to have their Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. Just this fall, one of our board members and alum, Lynn Erdman, and her husband David, established an endowed scholarship to support students in the RN to BSN program. And I just learned an hour ago that we've already awarded that to our first ever recipient, Barbara Cox, who's a nurse at Wake Med. The program has almost 200 inquiries, has received almost 70 applications already, and we have a goal of 33 students for this coming spring, and we are on target to meet that projection. I'm very proud to report that in our first 3 semesters of this program, we have had 100% retention of our students from the beginning of the program until today, an incredible achievement in a very short period of time. And lastly, it is my pleasure to announce this evening that the university has received an anonymous gift of $500,000 to support the launch of the RN to BSN program. It's a good day to be president. So one of the things that we are really excited about are many of the achievements that we've had in these 2 short years in our Believe in Peace plan. But we want you to share in some of that excitement. So I'm going to ask all of you, believe it or not, to take out your phones, please. All right, so of the 7 highlights that I've shared with you so far, I want you to look at which number you like the best, whether it's our incredible improvement in retention, our increase in alumni engagement, the growth in giving to the university, the opening of the Center for Immersive Learning, our launch of the RN to BSN program, the creation of a new Welcome Center, or the development of 6 new athletic programs. So you can pick your number there. And we are then going to do a quick poll. So, if we could go to the poll slide. All right, so you can text to 256-500-7316, your response 1 through 7. And we'll wait just a few minutes, and then all of the results will populate on the screen. Some people are still opening their texting apps. That's okay. That's all right. All right, let's see what the results say. All right, student retention has a strong lead. Outstanding. That's great. Well, as you can imagine, we are excited about all the achievements that we've had so far, and I want to share a little bit about where we're heading in year 3. So we're taking on 24 strategic initiatives this coming year, and we've already taken on several already in this short part of the fall. We're going to be focused on immersive learning orientation and expansion, reimagining our career and internship program, our online program expansion, an academic program market study, and conducting and implementing a marketing and branding study. One of the things that we're working on with our expansion in immersive learning is really looking at how we can permeate the entire curriculum, including piloting different types of courses, experimenting with different course formats, even the number of credit hours that might be assigned to a particular course, and integrating immersive learning experiences into our new student orientation. So when new students arrived in August, they all had immersive experiences as part of their acclimation to the university. And those ranged from walking tours of downtown Raleigh, conducted by Bill King, our CEO of Downtown Raleigh Alliance, to conducting research with our chemistry faculty member, to having opportunities to do leadership experiences during their first couple days here on campus. In addition to that, we've added 24 new immersive experiences in our curriculum just this fall across all of our disciplines. Next, our Career Design Center is working diligently to really reimagine our career and internship program. One of the great things about William Peace University is that the internship program is embedded in the curriculum. So every student has at least one internship before they graduate. Many take more than one. We are working diligently with employers and students to help them have a more powerful experience through the internship program. Over 60% of our students' internships lead to job offers. In the class of 2018, 98% of that class was employed or in graduate school within finishing 1 year of William Peace University, and many of those were because of internships opportunities. So really a very impactful program, and we're excited about where to take that program going forward. Our online program expansion is also going to be critical to our long-term future as an institution. The School of Professional Studies is an important part of the university and is focused on helping busy working adults complete their undergraduate degree. And we're continuing to expand our online program options for them so that they can fit it into their busy lives. We now offer 7 programs that can be completed entirely online by an adult student: business administration, criminal justice, psychology, liberal studies, marketing, leadership and nonprofit administration, and strategic communication is our newest. We also offer a BA in education and the RN to BSN program that I mentioned before that are offered in hybrid formats, a combination of on campus or on site. We teach a class, for example, in some of the hospitals, as well as here online. We're also partnered with an external research organization to help us identify future program needs that the region needs and how our university faculty and curriculum might be able to address some of those. And that could be through curricular expansion or looking at the existing programs that we have and how we can identify partners to help meet their critical employer needs. We're also conducting and implementing a brand marketing study. Many of you participated in a survey earlier this year as part of our comprehensive branding and marketing study. This is designed to help us understand the current perceptions of the university, as well as ultimately guide us in positioning our institution in the higher ed landscape going forward. This work is going to be incredibly critical to the long-term success of William Peace University, and we're going to work diligently to raise our profile, both with prospective students, our current students, and our alumni and donors and friends of the university. The entire campus is extremely excited about this adventure, and it's going to be absolutely helpful to us as we're looking to tell our story going forward. And while all of these initiatives are truly exciting, and are going to help propel the university forward. What I'm most proud of here at the university is the work that we are doing to impact the lives of students through a massive paradigm shift towards immersive learning. We exist to provide impactful and, dare I say, transformational educational experiences for our students. And tonight, I want you all to have a deeper look at what the first two pillars of our strategic plan are really all about: immersive learning and innovative partnerships. Immersive learning is all about engaging our students in hands-on, experiential ways, and when it's connected to an innovative partnership, something truly magical can happen. And you're going to get a chance to see that in just a moment. And so with that, I would like to invite four folks to the stage who are going to help us dissect a little bit what immersive learning and innovative partnerships is all about. So please give a warm welcome to Dr. Katie Ogus, Dr. Chris Bourne, Mr. Stefan Youngblood, and Ms. Michaela Brown.
How are you tonight? Thank you for coming and for being here to witness one of the most innovative classes that I've ever witnessed. I've worked with a lot of faculty members, but I've been incredibly impressed with the faculty here, with their creativity, innovation, and their attention on student engagement. So everything around immersive learning, as Dr. Ruff noted, is focused on student engagement and achieving student outcomes. And what we do with immersive learning is we get them out of the classroom or bring experts into the classroom to try to break down those walls of the classroom that can be sometimes a barrier, a physical barrier, but also a mental barrier to learning. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But also, we did a project. We presented a panel out in New Mexico about Dr. Otis's class and her partnership with Stefan Youngblood's organization. And Michaela, I'll talk about her, was a student in that class. So I'll introduce them in just a second. But going back, just a little bit, as Dr. Ruff noted, about immersive learning, we're trying to bridge this gap. For many of you in the audience, not our students, of course, because they're going through immersive learning, but for many others of you in your college experience, oftentimes you're just passive recipients of a lecture and just reading. And so over here on the left, the passive classroom-based lecture style, a banking model, unengaged. And you're just a receptacle and expected to regurgitate, perhaps, information back. What immersive learning does, it tries to bridge that gap and create engaged students, active learning, beyond borders, and through hands-on learning, as Dr. Ralph noted, experiential learning, collaborative problem solving, the internships, our partnerships with corporations, nonprofits, and other community partners and schools. We're able to, all of the research shows, this is how deep learning happens. This is how long-term learning happens. This is how we're able to tap into the creativity and the engagement of the students to achieve those student outcomes. And it's also how we can retain our students, by getting them out there and making connections in the world and seeing how their education relates to beyond the classroom. So that's what it's all about. And so we just have one example, just one example. This is the tip of the iceberg of what's going on here at the university. As Dr. Ralph noted, just this past academic year, 24 newly funded immersive learning experiences. And these are just funded experiences. This doesn't tackle everything that's going on in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to introduce just one of these particular experiences. Okay. So the key is with this Steps Aware Worlds Apart. We'll talk a little bit about what that means. But it's about tearing down barriers, and we're bringing outsiders, potential outsiders, into the classroom and developing these partnerships. And in this particular instance, what happens when we bring outsiders and make them part of our community, it was transformative, not just for the students, not just for the faculty, but also for those partners. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So just to introduce our panel, we have Dr. Otis over here. So she's the founding director of the History and American Studies program, and where she develops interdisciplinary and immersive learning curriculum. So Mr. Stefan Youngblood, musician and missions leader, has organized outreach activities across the globe. In 2015, he founded When Grace Happens. It's a mission project dedicated to bringing hands-on help and hope to underserved communities and partnering with organizations to distribute goods and services to those in need. And we have our student, Ms. Michaela Brown, a senior honors student, will be speaking on her experience in the Community Engagement Honors Capstone course. She's double majoring in leadership and nonprofit administration and communication, and she serves as an RA on campus. She's also one of the captains of the WPU swim team. So it's great to have, so thank you for all of you for being here. So really quick, I'm just going to kind of lead the panel, but Dr. Otis, if you would, just kind of like talk about like the creation, how this class came to be.
My students know I can't talk without a Coke. I'm not going to balance a Coke and a microphone. No, that Coke has to go down. Okay, so I was approached by Heidi Gaylor, who heads up our honors program here at William Peace University. I don't think I see her in the audience. Oh yes, hi Heidi. Dr. Gaylor approached me to create a capstone course for our juniors and seniors in the honors program, but also, by the way, for other students who are engaged in leadership activities on campus. I'm looking at some of you. I'm hoping to recruit you to future class this January. To help engage a diverse group of honor students from different disciplinary backgrounds with different talents and interests to participate in a community engagement project over the course of a semester. One credit class, you did an awful lot of work for just one credit, but I think it was very rewarding. I jumped at the chance when Dr. Gaylor reached out to me because I knew immediately what my interest was. We talked about it in November, and for about that past month or two, when I'm leaving the warmth and the camaraderie of our, academic buildings and making my way bundled up, rushing across campus to my car, I was frequently encountering men and women loaded down with bags on their backs, filled with clothing and other basic necessities. I assumed that these were homeless individuals, and I wanted to reach out to them. We'd often nod acknowledgement to one another. Occasionally they would ask me for some spare change, but that was about it in terms of the encounter. And those encounters really, I went home and I'd have nagging questions about what it means for us to be in a place of such beauty and a place where we have so many opportunities. And I wanted a way to create more human connection between the folks on our campus, our faculty, staff, and students, and our really nearby neighbors. I found out later from Stefan Youngblood that most likely these men and women were making their way from, what's the name of the? Love Wins day shelter across our campus to the bus stop. And later in the semester, Mr. Youngblood actually counted the steps from that shelter to campus right here. And it was how many steps? 371 steps separates our wonderful community here from a homeless shelter. They are truly our next door neighbors. So the hope here with this class and project was start to break down barriers, build bridges, and help us build human connections, and also learn from, connect with, but also learn from folks who have experienced weathering really difficult storms in their lives.
Okay, and how did it happen where you connected with Mr. Youngblood, with Stefan?
Okay. So Heidi and the support of Chris Bourne at the Immersive Learning Center let this project go forward. I gathered my 6 or 7 honor students at Donato's, talk about a partnership, over pizza the first class period, and I basically said, this isn't only experiential learning, it's also experimental learning. We will be building this class together. You'll be working with me. We'll figure out what we want to do. You're going to get your hands dirty. We're going to get involved. As any academic would do, we started off with texts. So we read a very long, in-depth history on the history of homelessness. I also tasked the students with doing some research on
statistics about homelessness right here in our own neighborhood in Raleigh, and the statistics were alarming. What we found was, although we live in a booming economy, Raleigh is welcoming in thousands of people from out of state all the time. The consequence of our booming economy is quite devastating for the numbers of homeless people, because we have affordable housing neighborhoods being torn down at record rates, replaced by $500,000+ homes and condominiums. In fact, I'm going to share a statistic which shocked me. I can find it. Over the last 3 years, homelessness among Wake County public school students has risen 41%. 41%. So that was our start, but statistics and books can only teach us so much. And the real goal of the class was, of course, to make connections with and learn from our homeless neighbors. And so I tasked our students, because I didn't have any great connections either. We networked. We asked shelters and other nonprofit groups if they could help us, and it turns out our very best, one of our very best connectors is none other than Dawn Dillon right here on campus. A chance encounter with Dawn, I just wandered into her office. She teaches the first year experience, connected me directly to Stefan Youngblood, and without a second thought, without a second moment's hesitation, Mr. Youngblood said he would do it. He would come to our class, he would help us, help us connect us with men and women who would be open to being our teachers and helping us learn about the experience of homelessness. And he's been our guide and mentor ever since.
Great, thank you, thank you. Stefan, tell us a little bit about When Grace Happens.
So, thank you for that. Actually, When Grace Happens, all we do is just connect people. I sit with the homeless in Oak City Cares and a bunch of places, and Love Wins, and oftentimes on the street, sometimes under bridges. And somebody said something about our neighbors, and I think for me, it's all about loving your neighbor. You know, I find that in the Bible, and it's not hard to do. And if you don't know who your neighbor is, you do. So my wanderings for a number of years, it led me overseas. I taught in Burma, and then did some projects in Calcutta, India. My grandfather's from there, and they've really taken me everywhere, all the way up to Mount Everest Base Camp, and just places, often third world countries. But I'm literally able to say to people now, well, you don't need to go around the world to talk to Mother Teresa to love your neighbor. And I do it right here in Raleigh. And we do it in a lot of different ways. All I do is just connect people, organizations, churches, and groups with people who need help, people who need somebody to see them, to care, to look at them. And so this one picture there, we have a dentist that works with us. And Betsy there on the left, she didn't want to smile for a long time. We had she was in a homeless shelter. We had a local dentist, and I basically identify people who would, he would probably want to help in this way. He gave her a new smile, and 2 weeks later, she was the greeter at Walmart. She wasn't just like working in the back, she was the greeter. It was a tremendous thing. Dominic next to her is a former Army vet, and he's homeless right now, and I told him I would be here, and his story is one that all of us need to hear. Right next to that is Diamond. Diamond was living in a Salvation Army shelter, and somebody said, you know, she's really good at, she was starting a business on her cell phone at night in her room at the shelter when she got off work. And somebody pointed it out to me. We found a way to hook her up with an organization that helps teaching coding. We got her a laptop, and that girl's learning coding right now. It's a very tremendous thing. The next one is we've been working on a relief project to Venezuela. Water project. I've done that in Haiti now. Also, the middle slide at the bottom is Puerto Rico. And I basically just connect people in Raleigh to opportunities on the right-hand side. He actually told me, he said, man, Stefan, I want to get my GED. He was living at Raleigh Rescue Mission at the time. I said, well, you study for it, and when it's time for you to get a test, I'll pay for it. I think because I thought it was $10. So I told him I'm grateful, and he did, and he got his GED. And then he got a job after that. She's also with Raleigh Rescue Mission, and because we do all kinds of stuff, we're able to give away cars and vans and just some really cool things. So we gave away a van to a mother that was in need.
Thank you. Yeah, it's remarkable, and the connections that you have through the community really helped Dr. Otis's class work through you and bring these people to campus. And this is where it was remarkably engaging and remarkably impactful and so unique, inviting these individuals to campus to be the teachers and to learn from them. And so it's just a remarkable approach. Michaela, I wanted to ask you, so how did this impact, like this approach, how did that impact sort of like your educational experience?
So for me and many other students that were part of the course, this was our first time having an interaction with a homeless person. We kind of grow up kind of keeping our heads down and walking on our own and just moving on with our lives. But for this experience, the guests that we had speak in our class were so inviting and welcoming that it felt comfortable enough to sit across from someone that lives maybe in sight distance from us that we wouldn't normally talk to. And so for people like this to come and speak to us, we were a little hesitant, we were uncomfortable, and that's what made the experience, was being uncomfortable and getting ourselves out there and having facilitators such as Stefan and Dr. Otis help us, guide us, and make us feel like we can ask those questions. And for a lot of it, it was, where do you sleep? What do you eat? How do you get places? Do you walk? They take the bus. It was just those basic life skills that we take for granted that really made me have a perception change of homeless people, and then also like being comfortable enough to maybe say hello to the next person I see and to build that community while in college, but then also in the rest of my life.
Thank you. That's remarkable. And also meeting over dinner. That was very symbolic. Be sharing a meal with individuals, and so I just want to introduce just a couple of the individuals, and so I'll let the three of you talk about a couple individuals. Harold.
Right. So we had a series of, I believe it was 6 different meals on campus, and part of the wonderful thing of partnership with Stefan Youngblood was initially our plan had been, or my thought had been, we'd go to a homeless shelter and have meals there, but there's just something really wonderful about being able to invite our neighbors into our home. And I just want to re-emphasize that it was really important to me and the students that our guests understood that they were our teachers. We had 6 individual meetings with these men. We broke bread together, and then we spent time listening to their stories. We also acknowledged their time and their knowledge that they shared with us, so we compensated them with bus tickets, which Mr. Youngblood tells me is like gold to the folks who are homeless, and with other necessities. And so for 6 different meetings, we were their students, and unfortunately, just due to time, we only have time to discuss 2 of our teachers. The very first one, you can see pictured up there, Harold. An amazing man, born right here in Raleigh. When I think of Harold, I think of that this is a man who is devoted to 3 things, or sadly was devoted to 3 things. Stefan's going to talk about what recently happened to Harold, but he was a man of faith. He was a man who was an incredibly hard worker. People often associate folks who are homeless as, not working hard. This was a man who spent 15 solid years working for a family landscaping company here in Raleigh until a tragic chainsaw accident tore his arm apart. Besides faith and work, his other devotion is that to his family, and especially to his beautiful twin grandsons. He ended up homeless because that chainsaw accident left him unable to work, and he couldn't pay his rent because government bureaucracy just took too long to get those disability checks to him. So I'll turn it over to Michaela to talk about meeting with Harold.
Harold was our first person that we had a conversation with, and he really brought that pivotal shift in our perceptions because of his optimism. He was probably the most refreshing person and open to our questions, and he always had the attitude to move forward and to keep fighting for the life that he knew that he could have. He was like stuck in this point in his life, but he knew it was always going to get better. He really made an impact on our lives because we didn't even have to take notes. Everything that he said, we just consumed instantly. And I feel like he was the person that we felt that was the start of something great for homeless people, and that they weren't all stuck in one place, that there is room for improvement in their lives, and there is room to grow and be a better person no matter what age they are, no matter what stage of their life.
Yeah, they're saying Harold was, because as we were preparing for a trip, actually Harold was going to be my roommate out to speak at a conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I started to look for him, and he was so excited about it. I would share everything, and the day that I said, Harold, we got your plane ticket, I started to try to find him. We couldn't find him anywhere, and one thing led to another, and I finally got a call after a couple of weeks, and somebody said they found your friend Harold. He had died several days earlier. Somebody at a business smelled something out back, and it was my friend laying on a mattress. So he passed away, wasn't able to come with us, but we're able to tell his story now. And I want to say this also, that these are real people, real people who deserve to be cared about. I remember taking him to the doctor one day and realizing, man, he hadn't been there in a while. And then he came back to my house with me, and he said, Stefan, can I help you do anything? Well, that's why I brought him back to my house, to help sort some clothes that we were going to give away. And he was just a very special person, and he's one of the homeless, and I don't know how many of them I've gone to their funerals at this point, but the connection is everything with these folks, and you all made a way for that to happen.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll briefly touch on Dominic as well, so we can make sure we get to, in sake of time, so we get to some of the other great projects that we're doing. So, Michaela, you just want to say something really quick about Dominic?
Sure. So one thing that we took away from Dominic in our time with him was one thing that he said, and I didn't even write it down. I didn't even have to tell anyone else about it. It was just in my brain forever. And one thing he said was, everything you say or do, you should ask yourself, is it true, is it necessary, and is it kind?
Let me add one thing to that. Somebody stopped this hardened Army Ranger veteran in his tracks when he shared of a really tough life. And towards the end of the class, a student said, can you tell us about love? And Dominic didn't see that coming, and he thought for quite a while, and you could have heard, a mouse in there. And he said this, he said, greater love has no one than this, and he lays down his life for his brother. That kind of wisdom is really tremendous, and it came from someplace deep. And I want to say the other thing with Harold is in the middle of class, one of you all said to him, we couldn't even tell that you're homeless. Well, Harold left that class with tears in his eyes. He said, Stefan, did you hear that? They said they couldn't tell I was homeless. Well, that restores the dignity and respect in life in a person, and that's what connections like this do.
Absolutely, yes, thank you. Yeah, it's transformative, not just for faculty, for students, but for everyone involved. And now the next part of the class, getting to another huge project with this one credit pilot class, was working with students or working with individuals down at the Salvation Army Women's Shelter.
Right.
Just in 60 seconds, can you tell us a little bit about that and the impact? And I can scroll through some pictures as well.
Okay. Yes, so our 6 students were charged not only with attending these weekly dinners and learning from these amazing men, but then also going out into the community and producing something of value to help alleviate homelessness. We ended up working with the Salvation Army Women and Children's Center, and again, I was adamant that this should be a collaborative process, that it's more than us going in and doing something we deem necessary for the shelter, but that collaboration would take place, that we would listen to residents and work carefully with them, and that it would just be as much their project as our students' project. I'm going to turn it over to Michaela to talk about what they did.
So for the library itself, we had a blank slate. It was almost too exciting for me. I was tasked with designing the library, and so we thought it would be best to create the bookshelves out of wooden crates. And I just would like to mention that most of this project was based on donations, so we went out into the community and started searching. We found books, decorations, painting supplies, and other bookshelves from our community members. And we hosted several interest meetings, like Dr. Otis said, about what kind of books that we can provide to the mothers and their children that would be most beneficial to them and that they could utilize. We then hosted a painting party that from the mothers and children to help paint the crates with us for their new library. I also reached out to a home improvement store that provided a generous donation for the painting supplies to provide an inviting, colorful environment that they'd like to be in. With paint smeared all over their faces, the kids had the best time being a part of the creation of the library, and of course enjoyed the donuts that they brought with them, that we brought with us. They were also great helpers, and they also assisted with the cleanup. We also hosted a ribbon cutting ceremony where we provided an ice cream social, followed by the reveal of the brand new library. It was extremely rewarding to see the whole library complete after all the hard work and love that we put into making the library useful for these deserving women and their children. The library brightened up the space, and the residents were eager to take advantage of this space, as the party was the first time that they ever got to see the space in its new light. And then also we had several stations set up for them and crafts, and it was a really great time to have the connection between the mothers and their children, where they could sit and read a book and really have that time together, which maybe like in the craziness of their lives might not be able to do. So books really helped connect everyone together. And one of the best things that I enjoyed the most was being around the families and connecting, and maybe taking the kids away from the moms for a little bit and giving them a break and letting them read a book. And so we enjoyed every minute, and we hope that they continue to remember us and remember the library. It was bittersweet to leave, but I'm really proud of our work and forever grateful to be part of something so special and now dear to my heart. I would just like to thank the shelter, everyone on the stage, and WPU for this opportunity to bring the community together. And we'd like to also thank our donations, all of their donations from all of our local community members, and your continuous support.
I want to say we got so many books that we actually had a book giveaway as well. We had a table full of books and just let children choose and take sometimes 2-3 books apiece. Yeah.
With that, I invite you, we could keep talking forever, but in the sake of time, we have some, these are other individuals that have been helped through when Grace happened, and then we just ask, how can you connect with us? How can you work with us? Whether it's a community project, and unfortunately we don't have a...
When I first became homeless at one point, I wouldn't even turn to my family. I was right there where I came out. I wouldn't even, me and my brother the one fell out, but I got a sister over here, I got a sister over here, I got an auntie over here. Sometimes I hate to say it, you adapt to this type of life, and then, I mean, you learn things. I'm not saying you don't give a damn for it, you don't want to get out of it.
This is the walk. That's all it is. So it is worlds apart. It steps away, worlds apart. But we really do just ask all of you, how would you like to connect with us? How would you like to work with us on projects, on issues? Sorry, go to the last slide. There we go. So partnerships at peace. If you want to work with us, but I want to thank everyone on the panel. Really appreciate all the work that you did. Michaela, Stefan, Katie, really appreciate it. It's been an honor being part of this. So thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. And we'll continue with the program. We will all be available for questions at the reception. We hope to talk with you in the future. Thank you.
So I hope you all are incredibly inspired as much as I was when I got to hear about the incredible work that Dr. Otis and Dr. Bourne and Stefan and of course Michaela were doing in this class. As we move to the last portion of the program, I want to talk a little bit about how the university is continuing to pursue excellence in all that we do. We've had an exciting year this year, blazing a path, and we've added a lot of things to the university as we've moved forward, and a lot of exciting things have transpired here. We hosted the Hip Hop and Higher Ed Symposium as a lead-in this year to J. Cole's Dreamville experience out at Dix Park. We hosted an interdisciplinary conference called Peace IC just this fall, that was focused on exploring the macabre, the malevolent, and the mysterious. And we had some experts in all sorts of really cool areas come and talk about that. And then lastly, after several years of not engaging with the U.S. News and World Report rankings, we participated this year and came in 26th out of 124 schools in the South. But please know that we are not content, and we are going to continue to do everything we can to pursue excellence in all that we do and do it with integrity. One of the best ways for us to do that is to have outstanding partners who can help us achieve excellence in everything that we do. On the screen here behind me is just a sample of some of the amazing partners that we have and supporters here at the university. I'd like to ask, I know many partners are in the room tonight, if you would just stand and be recognized so that we can thank you. And please do not be bashful. Please stand up. I like to call this William Peace University circa 2040-ish. This is a 20 to 30 year master plan for our campus that is designed to accommodate our bold goals of growing this institution and taking it to the next level. It's going to require enrollment growth as well as generous support from donors to make it happen, but we are excited about our long-term vision for this institution. It's a bold plan to move us from 415 beds to 1,000 beds on campus, to renovate numerous structures on campus, to build new academic and residential facilities, including a new student recreation center. Our two highest priorities immediately are finding an off-site location for our field sports, because you can see they don't fit on that footprint. And we're very hopeful to be able to have a new home for our home and soccer program and lacrosse program in the very near future. Our second priority is to get our new residence halls built on the back end of campus as we work also in upgrading our current residence halls. And if anybody would like to talk to me about which building you want to put your name on, I'd be happy to talk with you after. But because of this incredible vision, we had the freedom to explore something that I don't think we anticipated just 13 months ago. And that was, what is the highest and best use of Seaboard Station? The university took a very courageous step and invested in Seaboard Station in the fall of 2013 and acquired it as part of our investment portfolio of the endowment at that time. The Seaboard Board, in consultation with industry and real estate experts, determined that given our ability to see our vision fulfilled on these 15 East Peace Street, really opened some doors for us to rethink where we could head with Seaboard. And also the fact that the market in Raleigh, in case anybody has not noticed, is on fire, we determined that it was an ideal time to sell a portion of the Seaboard investment to capture those gains and then further strengthen the university. And boy, did it strengthen us. We had approximately a 22% gain on the investment, and our endowment increased from $35 million to $45 million overnight. Combine that with solid returns on our investments and an estate gift from a friend of the university, our endowment is now over $50 million as I stand here tonight, making it the highest it's been since the Great Recession. We retained a few portions of Seaboard Station and are continuing to look for what the best and highest use of those areas will be for the long term of the university. We have partnered with Hoffman, who is an organization out of Washington, D.C., who will be developing the site. And we are very, very excited about the world-class plans that they have to enhance that facility and bring in an incredible mixed-use development. They've been excellent to work with, and we continue to engage with them in looking for ways to partner and both bring value to them as well as the great value that they're going to bring to us and the north end of town. We're eager to see the master plan come to fruition in order to continue to provide the best experiences for our students. So as you can imagine, our university is rallying around this vision, and we're hopeful to see it come to fruition. We're a critical part of Raleigh's future, and we look forward to playing an increasing role in this dynamic region. And because of that, we also want to make sure that you engage with this university. So So some easy ways to do that, first and foremost, is to come visit us. And there's a couple really neat things happening on campus over the next several months. We have our holiday chapel service and tree lighting on December 2nd. Giving Tuesday is December 3rd. Our holiday story hour, which has become incredibly popular, we've had to add a second time frame, is going to be on December 8th. Our Founders Day is March 12th. Showcase is in April. This is a day where we do not have any classes, and almost our entire student body is presenting their work, whether it's research or internships, throughout the entire day, and students, faculty, and staff and guests attend different sessions throughout the day to see the incredible work that our students are doing. And then, of course, commencement will be here before we know it. Lastly, if you are looking for ways to engage with us and support the great work that we're doing, if you want to refer a student, you can contact admissions. If you would like to come to more productions for our theater program, you can contact them at theater.peace.edu. If you want to come cheer on the Pacers, you can do that. If you would like to host an intern or 2 or 4, we'd love to talk to you, and so those are resources there for you as well. As Dr. Bourne mentioned, we'd love for any of you who are interested in building a stronger partnership with us to reach out to us at partnerships.peace.edu or immersive learning at peace.edu. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to put your name on a building, I'd love to talk to you about giving. And lastly and importantly, if you have questions that we didn't address tonight, I would invite you to please email me at president@peace.edu. I'd be happy to respond to those. Or if you just need to, not sure which, you don't remember some of these addresses, you can remember president@peace.edu, and I'll make sure that you get in touch with who you need to talk with. Lastly, as I mentioned earlier, our panelists are going to be at the reception as well, so I'd certainly encourage you to ask them more about their incredible experience. But we can't let you go before we have a little bit more engagement from you, so we're going to go to a poll one more time, so if you'll get out your phones. I know I'm dealing with a more mature audience because if I was with college students, their phones would have already been out and they would have already been tweeting. So our last question for tonight, this is a one-word response. Type the one word that best describes your experience here this evening. So we will open up the poll here in just a second. You're going to text it to the same number. So one word that best describes your experience here this evening. And this is live, so use good judgment, please. We'll wait just a minute for those results to go through. All right, and we can show the results. Outstanding. Well, inspiring is definitely up there. We even got a couple with an exclamation point. Well, I'm so glad to hear that. We are certainly inspired. And to that end, I'd like to share with you our brand new admissions video to close out the evening.
This could be the moment we've been waiting for, the chance to feel alive. Nothing's gonna stop us, nothing's gonna top this, nothing like we've ever seen. And I raise my hands to the sky, what a feeling. 'Cause I feel like dancing high, got a feeling. Time to feel it. This is where it all begins.
This is a school for you if you are looking to grow as an individual. This school will push you to be that and will push you to be more than what you think you can be.
This is where it all begins. Burning like a light show, free yourself and let go. Time to see it all.
came to Peace, it just had that vibe. It's where I wanted to be. And then you come to Peace, you see a small campus. It just has a family atmosphere, and this is what I love about it.
This could be the best day of our lives, yeah. This is where it all begins. This is where it all begins.
Peace just as a whole has been a place that has grown me. I'm very grateful for the role that it has played in making me who I am. I have all the people here at Peace and of course just the beautiful campus to thank for that.
This is where it all begins. A moment to feel alive. This is where it all begins. A moment to feel alive. This is where it all begins. A moment this could be the best day of our lives, yeah. A moment to feel alive. This is where it all begins.
So with that, I want to thank you all for coming this evening. Many of you I know brought some books as part of our request to donate. You now know what they are for. So you're welcome to just drop those on the table on the way out. If you did not bring one, but you would love to bring one, certainly bring it by my office and we'll make sure we get it to the folks that need those the most. Again, thank you all for coming tonight. Most importantly, thank you for continuing to believe in peace. We're going to migrate over to our reception. I do have one housekeeping request to ask, and that is that our theater department needs to turn this theater in about 45 minutes to get ready for our production tonight. So if you all would, yes, exactly, Molly, get on out and over to the reception. It would be great. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.